Alright, hello to all you out there in Facebook and YouTube land. I figured I would cover everything that I've missed in the past week or two. I really haven't posted much since the elections. I was so mad at being forced to choose a political party that, yes, I was too mad to make another video at that time. I think if there, my personal belief is, if you're a registered voter and it's time to vote, and you show up, you should be allowed to vote whether or not you're Democrat or Republican. If there's something to vote on, if you're an independent like I am, you should be able to vote to see what's, have your choice of what's on the ballot, not just Republican or Democrat. That's a little one-sided. What happened if the Whig Party had a huge comeback? The Whig Party predates the Republican Party. But enough of that. I have to digress on that. The incidents in, was it Missouri or whatever, with that black teenager who was shot. That kid, witnesses claimed he was unarmed, and that's what they said. I don't buy that 100% myself, because I don't think he was totally unarmed. I mean, there is the factor of the cop was the cop may have been racist, the cop may have been belligerent, the cop may have been corrupt. But if they're going to investigate, they need to have an outside independent organization running that investigation. And what would happen if we saw a white teenager with who didn't have anything going on with him? He wasn't doing anything wrong. What if he got shot by a black cop? Would that make the news? No, it wouldn't, because it happens every day. A cop most likely ends up shooting somebody who's black or white, whether or not they're black or white themselves. It's a self-gone conclusion. Somebody's going to die every day because of a cop shooting. Doesn't mean the cop was inept in his duties or aptitudes. No. All that means is that the cop, for the most part, was trying to execute his duties. I've also heard a lot of this crap about cops trying to take cell phones with cameras on them away or tell people to turn them off. Well, I could be wrong, but I do not believe there's any law against a civilian or anybody else who's not involved with the problem videoing the cop in the process of his or her duties, as long as his or her duties aren't being infringed upon, meaning the cameraman isn't getting in the way of said duties of the law enforcement officer. If this law enforcement officer doesn't want to be recorded and he's on duty, I don't believe he has the right to privacy when he is a public servant. And remember, firefighters, police officers, everybody you elect into office is a public servant. Do they get paid? Yes, unless they're volunteer. But police and firemen here typically aren't volunteer. So they are public servants. We are allowed to monitor how they do their job. Why the hell else would they have dashboard cams or those new eyeglasses with the cameras on the top of their glasses? That's to have more transparency. We need to move. We need to move to this. I mean, people talk about police corruption. This is how you end it. And I don't think that the cops should be able to turn something on or off. As far as these recording devices, they should keep the batteries up and going. You know, if they shouldn't spend more than a second or two replacing the batteries on these gadgets. And I think the cops should have full accountability and responsibility and culpability for their actions on duty with the badge on in a cop car. If they have the badge on and they use it publicly and they're on duty, their actions and everything going on with them can be recorded and used against them. And if they're doing their job properly, There is no vague area. There is no gray area there. What happens is if police have culpability and there's video record of it, that means if a cop overstepped his bounds or violated somebody's civil rights or whatever, it goes on record. It becomes a matter of record that the police need to self-regulate. And if they can't self-regulate, get rid of the cop who can't regulate himself. It's a very easy, very simple matter. Now moving on to movies. We watched The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Not the greatest movie. I wasn't wowed by it. I mean, Jamie Foxx, awesome! Bar none, the best. Emma Stone, hot as a supermodel, but not a skinny supermodel. But she is equally as good. My problem with The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is it was worse than the first one. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. This one really disappointed me. I'm not talking somewhat disappointed. It let me down like a ton of bricks. I got so bored I started falling asleep to the movie. The movie's overdrawn. The plot follows the same one as it took 2 movies with Tobey Maguire to do. And quite frankly, I find that the Tobey Maguire series was miles better. This stuff they're doing in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it didn't work. I have a lot of gay friends, but this Spider-Man seems like he's, more attracted to guys than girls. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's not what the movie's about. The movie's not about showing that because if you watch when he's talking to his pal Harry Osborn, he's smiling. This friend he hasn't seen in 8 years. He comes to him because his dad died, and they get a little chummy, and then he leaves. It seems like it's a cinema moment that shouldn't be there. The romance should be between Emma Stone and Peter Parker. That's what it's supposed to be, and it's forced in the movie, which sucks. It really is forced. Emma Stone plays it off beautifully. She plays this complicated, educated, driven young woman, and Peter Parker basically plays this guy who fell into being the job of Spider-Man, but is too angst-ridden and guilt-ridden and memory-ridden to really do much. He's a flaccid superhero. I didn't like it, but you all can disagree with me all you want. I don't care. That's my opinion. Also watched Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Really good movie. I mean, they were really on point. They stayed on track with everything. I think they did a great job. I think they need to work on dragging out these infinitely long storylines. I understand the need for suspense, but not every movie that's made nowadays can be a Batman sequel. Like Batman Beginnings, Batman the Dark Knight, and Batman the Dark Knight Rises. Epic movies. Really long movies, but they were epic. There was a reason. There was a reason that there's not going to be another Batman movie, as far as Chris Nolan's concerned, for a while. He wants a break from it. But that's the reason they make movies like that. They're trying to compete with the Batman series. And with Captain America, I don't think it works very well. I think they need to build, but I understand they're going with the whole Nazi-ist storyline, seeing as how that's an underlying theme, but get over it. We're past that part. I mean, if you want to stay true to comics, okay, but don't go too far back. You'll lose your audience. Because in 10 years' time, we're not going to... most kids won't even remember that there was a Holocaust or World War II. They'll have heard about it, but they won't know what it was about or have that fresh perspective from our veterans. Let's see, on the upside, I got some music downloads, some country, some rock, STP, Sawyer Brown, that's for Jen. No, I'm not really a country fan. We also ended up splitting ways with Robert Hawley, which I will be talking about probably while I'm busy loading this post on YouTube. Anybody who knows Robert Hawley, well, get unknown to him. He is a user, he's a loser, he's a mooch. He has never gotten serious with anybody, with any women, unless they're on disability and they can still have kids. Those are his two requirements. He expects a woman to cook, clean, sew, take care of the kids. That way all he's got to do is work, come home, smoke, drink, and do whatever he wants. If he wants to come home and play video games all day, he should be allowed to do that. If you know Robert Hawley or have Robert Hawley in your life, get him out. But I'm going to digress because I got other stuff to do. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, peace out, people. Love yous. Bye-bye.